Hello. Hello. Welcome back to my channel, okay? Or welcome if this is your first time joining me live. I am very excited because this is my first live in a really long time, y'all, and I think it's going to be a good one. I'm trying to get navigated on my live stream system, so just give me a second. It's been so long since I've been using this. Let me see. Click here for one live stream. Okay. Yeah, I'm even doing a trial for it. I used to have the full thing, but I've kind of taken a break from stuff. If you've been following for a while, then you've seen that I kind of stepped away from some things, especially over the summer. And so it's just been like slowly getting my feet wet with everything that I usually have done. And yeah, I'm really excited. So if you are watching, let me know where you are tuning in from. I always love to see, and I hope that you're having a wonderful week. We are almost there. Friday Eve, y'all. We can do it. We can make it. So I know that we can get there. We only got one more day to go. So I hope, like I said, that you're having a great week, having a wonderful evening. But yeah, let me know where you're watching from. And so we are going to be doing something a little bit new tonight. And I have done Inspire Chats for years, as I call them. And I really wanted to kind of switch it up a little bit and do something different, but also very much the same, but just kind of give it a new name. And it's called Bible and Business, or Business and Bible. I don't know exactly what I want to call it, but it's basically where you can come. We're going to chat a little bit about some business, and we're going to get into some Bible time as well. And I think it's just a wonderful time to just connect with you all and just share my heart, share the things that I'm learning as I'm growing in my faith. And as I'm, just continuing to walk out what it is to be an entrepreneur in this day and age, and all of the things that I have done previously, the things that I'm currently doing, and just hoping that I'll be able to just share along the way, encourage someone along the way. That is what the Inspire Blueprint is all about. And that is truly my mission. So before we get into it, I do want to introduce myself because it has been a while. My name is Tatiana. I am so many things, y'all. I feel like I usually say I'm a business coach and a mentor, and I love to inspire you to get out of your own way. And that is very much true, but I am also a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a homeschooling parent. I have a lot of different moving parts and things that are going on in this season of life. I'm a woman of God and a woman that is growing in her faith. And I am a content creator. I'm a YouTuber. I've been on here for so many years, y'all. I've been on YouTube since 2008. So it's just crazy. And it has my different channels I've had and different things have evolved with me over the years. But I just love to show up, share my gifts, share what's on my heart. And I'm really, really happy that you are here and you're joining me. And hello to the replay fam. If you are watching this after the fact, same, definitely comment and let me know where you are watching from as well. So, hey, Shalina, thank you so much for getting on tonight. I appreciate it. And all of the other ladies that are slowly joining. Okay, so like I said, this is going to be a business and a Bible chat. I kind of wanted to start off with more of the business side of things, and then I wanted to get into the Bible in the second half just because I think that'll be a good flow. So definitely, if you do, make sure you do have your Bible, okay? Because we are really going to be getting into a little bit of it today. But before we do that, I really wanted to touch on the business stuff. So, first off, I am in the middle of a series right now called Grow Your List. And Grow Your List is all about really building an email list that is full of warm people, people that get what you're trying to do. They might be the right audience as far as, like the clients that you're looking for maybe your service that you're getting ready to launch or a product that you're getting ready to create. It might be the specific customer that you're looking for. But one thing that a lot of business owners tend to forget is an email list. And I am guilty of that as well. Okay. Like I had started one back when I first got started with everything with the Stationary Muse in 2016. I started a MailChimp. And the MailChimp was really just kind of there, like occasionally I would send out an email and just say, oh, there's a sale going on or something like that. And I was like occasionally collecting emails, and I want to say maybe over, I guess that would have been about 3 years. I had collected around maybe 100 to 300 something emails, somewhere between there. Because I remember when I officially got on Flowdesk, I did like what they call, like you can do like a manual upload. And I remember it was like, I want to say it was like 1 or 200 something. So, I was kind of, getting my feet wet and doing different things like that. But over the years, especially once 2019 came, I realized the importance of what it was to have an email list. And I've just always been passionate about it. Anyone that's ever worked with me, anyone in the membership that I worked with in the past, just anyone in general that has had a conversation with me about launching something, they already know that I'm a huge advocate for having an email list. And so it's no surprise that I'm doing another series on it because I think it's that important. And even with me taking a break over the summer, I really appreciated the email list that I had built because it allowed for me to slowly start showing up again to an audience that I knew was just a comfortable audience, right? I kind of view my email list as a place where I'm able to just add a little bit of extra zhuzh over there, get a little bit vulnerable sometimes, share my heart a little bit more. Not that I don't do that here on this channel, but I really value my email list and the people that took the time to, give me their information, to let me pop into their inbox. And I just really love that. And so I want that for everybody. And the reason I even shared kind of when I kicked off the series was how powerful it was when I took my break and I decided to come back, and I was like, okay, I think I might want to do like a little birthday sale and different things. And I was able to do something like that without even having to really get on social media. And so there's a lot of power in having an email list for the connection, for the possibility to grow, for income, just so many different things. And of course, y'all know people always saying if social media was to shut down, you have a place, but it's true. It's a way for you to connect with the people that really matter the most, that are going to continue to help you move your business forward. And so that's why I decided to do another series on this. And I think this is a timely series because we're getting into the busy season of what most businesses would call, like Q4, right? We're getting into the holiday season. This is a busy season for content creators, service providers, product-based businesses, everybody and their mama, literally. It just can be very busy. And so that was why I thought it was a great time to just kind of remind you all about building up an email list, because it's just important to remember to provide the value before you're asking for the sale. Hey, Anita, thank you for joining. But yeah, so it's always important to provide the value. And so I'm not going to really get into a ton of that because I've shared some of that in a couple of the videos that I've kicked off the series. So make sure you check it out. But I wanted to just touch on a few extra things. So tonight, let's discuss some ways that we can increase the open rates of our emails, because this is something that is very important. And I think above all, like, you can have 10,000 people on your email list, but if only 20% of the people, or not even, let's say 4% of the people are opening the emails, or something like that, it's like, well, what is really the benefit, right? If we're not getting people to actually click on things, if they're not even getting it in their inbox in the first place, which is a huge issue that a lot of people have, myself included. I've experienced it and was experiencing it. And so I was blessed to be able to be on a call with Flowdesk, which it's now live on their YouTube as well. So make sure you check out their YouTube channel. And they were sharing all about just different information on how to just do better with getting in people's inbox, increasing your open rates. And the first part of the open rate has to be that you have to appear in the inbox. And so they just talked about a lot of really, really good tips. And I wanted to just share a couple of them with you all. Because again, as we're getting into the holiday season, the last thing you want is to be having this whole plan of, oh, I'm going to send out these emails, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to launch this and this, that, and that. And nobody sees it, right? Like it lands in their spam folder, or they just don't click on it, or whatever the case is. And I do want to just kind of throw out there as well, because I've dealt with this personally, and women that I've worked with have also shared it too. And it can sometimes feel discouraging, but people are going to unsubscribe. Okay. So I do just want to say that you can put your heart and soul in an email and you're going to get it unsubscribed. And I don't think that it's something you should take personally. There's so many different reasons why it can happen. And even look at your own behavior with your own email list. There may be times where you're just trying to simply get stuff out of your inbox. I don't know about y'all, but Google is always yelling at me about my inbox being full, like in my personal email. And sometimes I'm just going on an unsubscribe spree just so that I can simply get the stuff out of there, right? So that I can clear it out. Sometimes that's the case. Sometimes around the holidays, when there's just so much noise from so many different businesses, I'll do it. Sometimes I will do it because maybe I don't agree with what they're sending, or it's not resonating with me anymore. So there's a lot of different reasons, but I just share that because as you start to get into this, and we're going to talk about consistency, I don't want you to feel defeated because you're like, oh, well, somebody just unsubscribed. The hope is that what you're doing and your plan, you're going to continue to grow. People are always going to leave. People are always going to unsubscribe. But as long as you're continuing to show up for yourself and be consistent, you will continue to see people pouring in just as much, if not more. Okay, so the benefit of having a list, first off, just in case if we need to cover that, I've kind of talked about it a little bit, but is really to have a way to connect with your people outside of social media. It's a way for you to launch. It's a way for you to bounce ideas off of people. It's more of a safe place because 9 times out of 10, if people are on this list, it means that they have decided that they wanted you to be able to come into their inbox, whether they signed up for a free opt-in that you provided to them, or maybe it was an event and you had a sign up for people to join. Whatever the case is, there was some kind of connection that happened in an exchange, and this is a really big deal. So that's why it's important to have one. And definitely make sure you check out the series. I forgot to link y'all. See, this is why I'm out of practice. There was like some links I wanted to include in this, so I'll make sure that I include them right when I get off. But one of them was the link to the series. I have a playlist for it though here on the channel. Okay, so let's talk about the ways to increase your open rates. So the first one is to warm up the list. So the way that Flowdesk basically described this, it was a really cool concept, and I definitely tried it out, and it definitely worked. Okay, so that's why I wanted to share it with you, because it totally worked. Is to take a look at your existing list. So this is going to be for people that already have a list currently. Okay, and it could be one you just started this year. Maybe you've had it for multiple years. It really doesn't matter how many people are on there. This is something that everyone can apply. And all that you want to do is really take a deep dive into your analytics and look at how things are performing. Look at the people that interact and engage the most with your emails. Those are going to be kind of considered like your biggest fans, essentially. The people that always pretty much open every single email that you send. They're clicking on most of the links, and they open them. And that's basically what it is. That's what you're looking for. It's like, who is opening, my open rate. And if you have a platform that will allow you to do that, there's so many email platforms. I'm a Flowdesk user, so I will mention that a lot. But whatever the case is, you want to be able to check that engagement portion and just see whoever that top group of people is, whether, let's say if you have 100 people on your list, maybe that top 10 group, or 10 or 15 people. If you have 1,000 people, it might be maybe that top 50 to 100 people. If you have over 5,000, that might be maybe the first like 3 to 500 people. So it's going to be a little bit different for every amount, but you want to really just look at it in tiers of who opens it the most. And then from there, you're going to put everybody in a group from the most open rates. So this would be people that I would say maybe opens it at least 95% of the time, maybe not 100. That's not realistic, but if someone is opening your email more than 95% of the time, I'm gonna consider them a top fan. Okay, so you're gonna put them in that group. Anyone that's maybe somewhere between like 85 to 90%, even 90 to 95%, put them in kind of like the next tier. So just look at it like there's levels to it. And then from there, you're going to keep trickling down until you get to a point where you're to the people that are maybe like under 50%, under 40, 30%, or whatever the case is. And the reason that you're doing this is because you want to essentially, what they say, warm up your list. So you're going to split these people up into actual groups. Now, Flowdesk calls these segments. And the segments are just essentially a bucket of people that you literally label them on there, and you can put them whatever you want. So for me, I ended up doing mine, and I literally call it like warm group 1. I think I called my warm group 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I had a total of 7. And I sent out these different, I sent out an email to every single one of them, and I did it kind of staggered, and I did it to the top list first. So you send it to the people that have opened it the most, And 9 times out of 10, you're going to get like close to 100% open rate. Okay. So what basically happens is it's now telling, like Google and, the different kind of like whatever the little things that are in the tech world that make all this stuff work. It's telling them like, hey, these people like the emails. Let's push this. Let's keep it going. So then a couple days later, you send it to the next tier of people. And then a few days later, you do that. And then you continue to keep doing it. It might take you a couple of weeks to get through everybody, but you want to do it in that way. Started with that top fan group and then slowly working your way down to like the least open rate group. And by the end, the hope is that the open rates increase, because a lot of times it'll end up in people's spam or even like the promotions folder. Sometimes I've seen like, even because I'm subscribed to my own list so I can like test out how stuff comes through. And sometimes I'll end up in my promotions folder. I'm like, what is going on, right? And a lot of people don't check that. And so this is just a way of kind of kicking it off. So this is for people that if you have taken a break from your email, let's say it's been several months, maybe it's been over a year, whatever the case is, try this warm up your list method, because it's a way to get back out there and get started. And the email can be whatever you want it to be. I think mine was more of like a personal one, if I remember correctly. And I was just really just sharing where I've been. Like I had took probably at least about 3 to 4 months off from sending emails. And I just wanted to kind of share my heart, what I've been up to, what I was planning on doing when I come back. And that was pretty much it. But it allowed for people to connect with me. I had a little poll in there just to create some extra interaction, and it was great. So that's what I would suggest. Like, let's say if you have one, but it's been a while and you're trying to figure out how to pick back up, just share your heart, create an email just talking about what's going on, what they can expect, and then send it and do it in that tiered way. And what I noticed over time was that the open rates increased, even for the people that typically didn't open it. Like, let's say if it was like people that were under 50%, I saw that percentage go up. And that first couple of groups, I was like giddy, y'all. Like I was checking this. I was like, oh my gosh, like this is amazing. So it's just cool to see, you learn about something and then actually walk it out and see how it works. And it was actually really cool. So that's the first thing I have on here, is to warm up your list. And so from there, don't drop off. The hope is that you keep going. And that's my next point I have on here, is to be consistent. And consistency is going to look different for everyone. Don't feel like you have to be showing up in somebody's inbox every day. It doesn't even have to be every week if you don't have it. It could just be simply once a month. I think Flowdesk recommended, if possible, if you can do once a week or even every other week, that would be great. But even once a month is better than nothing, y'all, okay? And the reason, again, for this is because when you're consistent, people can know what to expect from you, and it just doesn't come off by surprise. And I really like it too, because I never want to be a person that comes off super salesy. That's just not my personality at all. And so I do really like to check in and share value and share free things and just like touch base. And then occasionally I'm like, oh, but hey, I'm launching something, girl. Like, come find out about this. And so it's a nice balance when there's consistency, because I don't always have to feel like every email that I'm sending out, I'm trying to sell something. And everybody's business model is going to be different. Some businesses, that's strictly what they are in the inbox to do. And that kind of like that tone is set from the beginning. Like, some of these like different clothing stores we sign up for example, or different things like that. It's like, what the expectation is. But depending on the type of brand you're trying to build, and I know many of you are probably similar to me like this, you want to build one that probably has some depth to it, right? And it has some impact. And so that is why I think it's really important to make sure that you're connecting with people outside of just making it so salesy all of the time. And then the last thing I have in here for increasing the open rates is to clean it up. And if you've ever seen where people will ask you straight up, like, comment to this, or let me know, do you click on this if you want to continue to receive emails from me? There's a reason for that. When you clean up your email list, it's getting rid of the people that are not interacting. If you're constantly sending emails to an inbox and they don't open it, 9 times out of 10, that is hurting your open rates. It's hurting your chances of it showing up in places other than like spam and promotions and different things like that. So I would say 3 to 6 months, go in and look at the engagement. So like that group of people that I talked about, that one that it's like less than 50%, 30% open rate, really look at that list. And if they haven't engaged or opened anything in many months, it might be time to go ahead and remove them from the list. And they can always rejoin again, right? If the opportunity allows, but cleaning it up, I used to think that that was, and this is a very new thing for me, y'all, but I always just held on to every single person that signed up on my list for years because I was like, oh, I don't want to lose this person. But when they explained it in the presentation, I'm like, it makes so much sense because it's actually hurting me when I'm just holding on to them. And so I still have these people, they're kind of like in their own little section. I put them in a segment. So they're not gone, but they're unsubscribed from my main communications, and that way they're not getting anything from me because if you're not opening it 9 times out of 10, you don't want it anyway, right? And that just is a win-win all around. So those are the things I wanted to share because sometimes it's not the things that I know I have heard of when it comes to sending emails and just increasing open rates and just different best practices basically when it comes to what it means to like send out a newsletter and different things. So if anyone has any questions about email list building or just business stuff, please put it in the comments because I would love to be able to help anyone or share anything. And I see a couple more people have said, hey, hi, is it Rose? And okay, then this username T Plas. Hello, thank you guys for joining. Okay, y'all. And then before we transition to the Bible portion of this, I have just a few more things in my little notes. So please, if you have a question, definitely ask. Okay, so I have in here, and I'm literally going to read verbatim what I wrote because when I tell y'all mom brain and I be trying to like look at the notes and talk, and it's just not working right now. So I put in here oh yes, that your newsletter should create the tone that you want to set. Okay. And I think that just goes without saying. But when you decide, like, okay, well, what do I want to talk about in my newsletter? Or what do I say to these people? Think about the tone that you want to set. What is the message that you're trying to convey? Who are you trying to help? How you show up in someone's inbox is important because that will allow for them to see you outside of maybe like the face that you may have like when you are on Instagram, for example, like that, or it's outside of just like the packages that they receive from your business. This is you really getting an opportunity to connect with them on a deeper level. And so when you think about that, like what are some of the things you enjoy? If there's newsletters that you regularly like to indulge in, what are some of the different features that they have? How often are they sent? What are the subject lines that make you want to click and open them up? And I don't mean like, clickbaity type things, but sometimes, in order to get people to see what's going on, you may have to put a little something in there other than just like monthly newsletter, right? Like you want to add a little bit of something in there. And so just thinking about how you want the tone to feel. I know for me, I always want any email that someone gets from me to feel faith-based in some way. And I want them to feel motivated or encouraged to do something. There might be different topics, but I always want to make sure I do that. So I might do that through the form of some type of, like, I'm doing a freebie every month now. So it might be a freebie that I'm doing where it kind of helps someone take action. It might be some steps to do something, a journal prompt. I might share a story in hopes that it will encourage someone else. So the point is I want people to be able to feel like I want to take action after they read my emails. And then I always just want people to just feel seen in some way, whatever that may be. Again, that's going to look different, but that's kind of some of the things I think about when I'm putting together my newsletters and just the different communications and things that I have. And you can do this as often as you want. Like I said, at least once a month, I think is best. But if you can do it more frequently than that, it's definitely no harm in it. Okay, so let's see. Planning, living, and loving. Hey, she said, should we send an email to the people we are going to drop? Should we send an email to the people we are going to drop to see if they want to continue? So you definitely can. And I think that is something you totally could try. I think for me, I decided not to. And the only reason is because they have been on my email list for so long. Like, I mean, people that have been on there for years, and they were like they hadn't been active in a really long time. So for those people, I just went ahead and moved them. And then I decided that anybody else that was over a certain percentage, I went ahead and still decided to send those emails out. But that was just a personal choice. I think it would be great to send that email because you never know. You might get a couple people that are like, no, I don't, like definitely keep sending them to me. So I think that's a wonderful idea. And depending on what type of platform you have, there's a really easy way you can do it as well, because you can have them simply click a button and then it will automatically put them into a segment for you that will basically say like, hey, this person clicked, they're still interested, they want to be here, basically. So you can set it up that way so it's very automated, so you're not having to like go in and decipher who clicked and all that stuff. Like it'll automatically drop them in, which will make that step really nice. Okay, let's see. Rose said, what made you go with Flowdesk versus the other companies? That's a really, really good question. So I ended up getting a course back in, I guess that would have been 2019, y'all. I'm pretty sure. I'm sure you guys are familiar with Jenna Kutcher. She has it's like an email building course, basically. And it was the first time that I really had thought about taking an email list seriously. And in the course, she actually shared about Flowdesk because I had never heard of it. And at the time, they were running, well, actually, they still do. It's not even at the time, they still do. They were running a promotion where you can get 50% off of the regular monthly cost. And she had her link for it. And I was like, oh, this is cool. It was really pretty as well. Like the layouts were really nice, very user friendly. Those were kind of the main things that drew me to it. But I would say what's even more of a benefit is the reason why I stayed with Flowdesk. And I think one, the price is right. Okay. The price is amazing. And the fact that you get unlimited subscribers is amazing too. So if you figure I started with just a couple of hundred people, which was a huge deal for me. But as I've grown, now I'm in the thousands of people and the price has stayed the same consistently. So that's one thing that I really like about it. I am sad though, because I'm sad, but I also get it. They're actually changing their pricing model. So in November, they're going to be getting rid of the unlimited plan that they have, y'all. And they're going to be doing more of like a tiered plan. So basically, as your list grows, the price will change based off of that. So it'll go up, which makes sense, right? Because of course, there's going to be more bandwidth required to be able to have those bigger lists. Because it's like a small business that has 50 people is paying the same amount as someone that has 50,000 people. But it's a great time to get in on Flowdesk, y'all, right now, because this is going to be the last time that they're offering this unlimited plan. So just a few months left, and then they're going to be calling this kind of like the legacy plan, and then they're shifting to this whole new model. So if anyone is considering Flowdesk, definitely check any of my videos where I talk about it. I have my link in there. You can get 50% off of your first year, and then you will be locked in that legacy plan. But Rose, yeah, I think that was one of the biggest benefits, is just because the price didn't change as it grew. And yeah, they just overall, it's user friendly. As the years have gone on, they've added so many integrations. Again, it's very user friendly. I'm all about user friendly, y'all. Okay, all about it. I don't want to be sitting there trying to figure out stuff for hours. And yeah, so I really, really like it a lot. And if you ever received an email from me in the past 6 or 7 years, it's come from Flowdesk pretty much 9 times out of 10. So it is by far one of my favorite tools for my business. And even with like the break that I've taken, I basically have cut back on all of my things that I had, like all of my software and stuff. Flowdesk has remained. Okay, Flowdesk has not gone anywhere at all. Okay, anyone else have anything before we transition? Hey Yvette, what's up? Oh, it's been so long. How are you? Yes, user-friendly support. And yes, definitely. And I like too, one of the things about, and I'm sure other companies do this too, I'm really locked in with them. So I don't know, I can't speak for other companies, but I like the fact that they do have content that speaks to how to use their platform. So if you're wanting to know, for example, like the best practices thing that I shared, they share that with the public. So you can go on their YouTube channel, you can watch those tips to help you. If you want like some very specific steps on how to create an opt-in or make a workflow or, do a layout, they have that type of thing in there. Anyone can become an affiliate with them as well. So just like I'm sharing and talking about like, oh, you can use my link, like you can have a link too, right? And you can make commissions off of those links. So I think it's great because not only do you get to build your email list on a wonderful platform, but it could turn into a little side something for you as well, right? You could get some income just by simply sharing something that you naturally use and love. So that's another really cool benefit about it as well. Hey, Jamie, how are you? How are you? How are you? Always such valuable content, always right on time with the topics. I'm so glad. So glad. Hey, Yasmin. Is it Yasmin? Yasmin or Yasmin? I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Wanted to know what are some things you implemented for a call to action? Okay, so give me a little bit more. When you say call to action, do you mean like the thing that got them to sign up for my email list? Is that what you're saying for call to action? I usually like an opt-in. Let me know. Hey, oh, Takia, watching from North Carolina. It's been way too long. Yes, it has been way too long. I'll keep it short. You look great, still providing value, empowering, and pouring into all the best qualities of women everywhere. Missing this. Thank you so much. I know. I told my husband the other day when I was planning on doing this, and shout out to Shalina, y'all. That's my accountability partner. I've talked about her so many times. She had said it to me the other day because I'm doing this series, and I'm gonna just keep it real with y'all. I fell off over the weekend. Okay, I was supposed to be getting my batch record on, and instead I got my relax on the couch on. Okay, and then the weekend came and went, and then we're back in the swing of things of the week, and I'm like, oh, and so she's like, oh, you should just go live, and I was like, oh, I haven't gone live in forever. So I'm so glad to be on here with you all because when I tell you going live is one of my favorite things, but yeah, I was telling my husband, I'm like, it's been so long. I'm like, now that Landon is a little bit older and I feel like my anxiety level is starting to even out a little bit. I'm like, maybe I could get back into this. This could be more of a regular thing again. So we'll see. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. So yes, the opt-in. So for that, I'm just rereading your question. Okay. So where did your question go? Okay. Wanted to know what are some things you implement. Okay. So for the opt-in, this is a great question. I think the biggest thing to consider is what are you trying to do in this season? So if you're getting ready to launch something, or are you just in a process of just trying to get some brand awareness, really figuring out like what your focus is right now will be really helpful. Because if you are getting ready to launch something, let's just say, for example, if I want to use, I don't know, let's just say if I'm going to be launching a course or something. And I know that the course is going to be talking about, let's just use one of my actual courses, the Handmade Planner Masterclass, right? I'm going to use a real example. Before I launched the Handmade Planner Masterclass, I decided that my opt-in was going to be a handmade evaluation guide. So the guide basically it helped qualify people for the course, but that's not really I'm trying to say, how can I say it? It wasn't packaged that way, but for me, that's how it was. So people basically, they watch my video. I had like a mini series that I did. So this is what you would do. Think about, whatever it is that you offer, and you can definitely share more in the comments if it's a product or a service, what you offer. Think about what are some things you can pull from that. So for me, the course, I decided I wanted to pull just the idea of like, well, is handmade for me? Is this something that I even want to do? Because people were watching my channel and it looked all cute and fun, but I wanted people to know the real. I wanted people to know the ins and outs. Like, it's not all it's cracked up to be. It is labor intensive. It can be expensive, right? So giving all those things to qualify people essentially, but the guide helped them to really get the first steps. It told them the tools that they were going to need. It told them exactly what are some of those things they need to be considering when they're thinking about, okay, what do I need to look for if I'm going to do a handmade planner? And then what that allowed it to do is it now has given them not only a quick win, but it's given them some actual action steps, right? And it's given them the value to show like, oh, she's provided me with a lot already. And then for me, on the flip side, it's anyone that I know that's joining that list is someone that has somewhat of an interest in making handmade planner. And then from there, that can then pour into whatever, you decide to do with your funnel. So that opt-in can be a lot of things. You can do a workbook. You could do a free challenge. You could do an email challenge where it's like maybe it's a 7-day challenge or however long you want it to be, but every day they get an email from you and it leads to this result at the end. You could do a guide, like I have one running right now with my Grow Your List series. It's the newsletter planning guide. Make sure y'all get that. I think that is in the description. And that helps people to figure out, like, well, what do I talk about on my newsletter? You want to make it relevant to what you're planning on launching or just what your current focus is. And think about something too that will be evergreen, that will, no matter what time of year is, it's going to be working for someone no matter what. So even though like I did my How to Start a Stationary Business series back in January, literally today, someone signed up for that stationary starter pack that I offered for free because at any time of the year that's relevant. So those are some things to consider as you do it. And what else? So what did I say? A workbook, a challenge. It could be like a bonus episode, like if you have a podcast or a YouTube channel or something. It could be like a private episode that only the people that sign up can get access to. There's so many things that you could offer, but just make sure that it makes sense for your bandwidth, like what you actually can handle. I think that's really important, but also that it is fitting the piece of the puzzle of what you have coming up as well. I think that's always important. So like I knew I was launching that course, so I did that guide and that made sense. Or I've done so many, and y'all, I got so many freebies. I don't know if you signed up for one of my things, comment in the chat, put a heart or something. Okay, if you signed up for one of my free opt-ins, because I have so many. But yeah, that's the way to do it. I hope that was helpful. Definitely ask if there's anything else more you want to know. Okay, it says yes. I've been thinking about the process as well. I want to view my email list as my own personal social media, my community and people. Exactly. And I think that there's just so much power in that. There's so much freedom in that, of knowing that you are creating this just world of your own, of people that just relate to you, right? That your tribe. And I think that it's important. It really is. Especially today. I think it's just important because there's so many people out here with AI now and all these different things. This is just another way for you to really build trust with your audience and be like, hey, I am a real person. This is really me. This is the value that I have to offer. So I just think that it's such a great thing to have. Such a great thing. Okay, so I want to shift gears a little bit into the Bible portion of this. But if anyone else has any questions, please feel free to drop them in. I forgot how tiring it could be from talking when I'm on live because it's been so long. Okay, so now I want to get real with y'all, okay? So I have my notes here if you see me looking down, and then I'm going to eventually get my Bible. I did share on Instagram. We're going to be in Ecclesiastes for this, so if you want to get your Bible, definitely do. The one that I'm reading from is this Women's Studies Bible, and it's in the English Standard Version. So we'll be getting into that in a second, but I feel like I have to tee this up a little bit for just where this is coming from. So the first thing I will say is that I've shared this in a vlog, but in case you didn't see the vlog, I had my son back in February. He just turned 7 months last week. So, I mean, it's been a while, but with postpartum and just all of the changes and everything, I decided that I needed to just kind of step away from social media, content creation, business, like most things. I kind of just took a little bit of a pause for a couple of months to just first lean into just this new life that I'm trying to figure out, like where I fit in, right? But also just trying to see like what's next. I think not only just having a new member of our family now, but just so many things have just shifted. And so I really was just trying to figure out what I wanted to do moving forward. And so I decided to take that break anyway. I share a lot about it and go more in detail in one of my vlogs when I first got back. So I'm not going to go super in depth. But during my break, I just kept kind of hitting this wall of like, what am I supposed to be doing? And a lot of times, God knows, like when I'm asking that, I'm 9 times out of 10 referring to my business. I have always said that like I feel like I have a call to help women. And in different seasons, that has looked very different, literally. I mean, from when I was younger, it was singing and writing music, and I thought that like that was going to be what it was going to be. And then in another season, it was I had a blog that I used to write, and I was doing like natural hair stuff, and I was doing that for a little bit and sharing that whole journey on YouTube. And then it turned into me sharing about planning and all of my love for that. And then eventually I started my own stationery business, and it turned into me, sharing that journey. And then it turned into me being a business coach. And so I basically am just saying that like in every season, I've always been very consistent with the vision of pouring into women, empowering them to go for the things that they want to do, but it just has looked different. And for some reason, this year specifically, but even a little bit of last year while I was pregnant, I really was just wrestling with like, okay, is this even something that I want to still be doing? What does this look like? I think business just feels so different. I've talked to a lot of different people. I've watched a lot of videos. Everybody is just kind of like in a similar space in the aspect of just things just feel like different. There's been a shift over the last couple of years, and I haven't quite found my footing in that shift. And so the break was just a lot more needed than I really anticipated, because I cried, y'all, like a baby. Like I closed the membership down, which that was rough. That was hard for me because um, definitely one of well, not even one of the favorite part of my business outside of this YouTube channel and my newsletter. I would say the membership literally is like right next to YouTube for me, because I just really enjoyed connecting with the ladies on such a deeper level, and we have multiple calls a month. And God just like provided me with the most amazing group of women, and it was such a good season of my life, and I'm hoping to get back to that at some point. But I'm sharing all of this just to kind of give you an idea of like my headspace and everything. And so I just kind of felt like during that break, I kept asking, like, what exactly am I chasing? Like, what am I looking for? What am I trying to achieve here? And like I said, I'm just gonna keep it real with y'all. Feel free to, if you agree with me or if you have ever been there at all too. I feel like a lot of what I'm chasing is somewhat selfish, somewhat things of the world, I guess you could say. Um, More so like validation in some ways, and not even necessarily from you all, but it could just even be from like people in my personal life, right? Like, oh, like I want my parents to be proud of what I'm doing. Or, oh, I want to be able to say that I hit this amount of subscribers on this channel, or different things like that. And those are all great and fine, but at the end of the day, even as I've hit like different things, or like I've sold out of stuff, or I've helped X amount of women, or, whatever the case, or I had a great presentation that I did and got amazing feedback, or my mom called me and she's saying she's so proud. Like, it didn't really matter, like, whatever happened. I always kind of came back to the same feeling of like, what am I doing? Okay. And so that's kind of what this whole thing where it's stemmed from, is just like, it's just been this vicious cycle of like, no matter what I hit, like whatever goal it is that I achieve, I always come back to the same question of like, well, what am I chasing? What's next? What am I doing? And so the two things that I do know is that and that are very clear to me since coming back from the break, is that I want to help women find confidence in doing what God has placed within them. And that's a little bit of a shift, because that's not really something that I used to say, but I think that that's very important, differentiation. And then also, I want to help bring people closer to Him by simply sharing my journey. And so it's a small shift, but with that is kind of like where this part of the Inspired Chat is coming from, because as I'm growing in my faith and just learning a little bit more about God and the Word and different things like that, it's kind of hard not to share on here. And I remember I had put up a video during my like maternity leave time, if that's what you want to call it. And it was all about like me sharing about my faith and how I incorporated into my business and stuff. And it had some really good feedback. And I was kind of curious, to see like how it would do. And the comments, I could just tell that like everyone was resonating with it. And so I was like, okay, I want to make this a little bit more of a thing. I don't know how we're going to do it. And I still don't know how we're going to do it, but I wanted to share a little bit with you all tonight of just what I'm currently reading about. And yeah, but I mean, honestly, like during this time, I've cut back on a ton of business expenses. Like I said, I've shut things down. I really have just considered just disappearing off of the internet. I've had moments like that too, you know, it's just to be honest. And these are all different things that have happened during my break, but I keep coming back to the same thing that I said at the beginning of this is that I have a purpose and I am here to encourage women. Even though it might look different in this next season, whatever that may be, I'm still going to continue to keep showing up. And so that's why I'm here today. That's why I'm doing this series, because I still have more to say. There's still more value that I can give. And I'm just grateful to be able to do that for you all. And I was just, before I got on, I was praying before this call and, or not this call, what is this? Y'all, I'll be having so many different things. This live. And I was just saying, you know, just that I'm so, so grateful for this platform and the women that I have been able to just touch in any way and impact, and just grateful and just hoping that, and through all of it, it brings you closer to God, because that's really what the goal is all about. So, okay. So I am going to open up my Bible. We're going to do Ecclesiastes. And the other day, I had got up, and I'm not even sure what made me want to read Ecclesiastes, y'all, because sometimes I don't really know what exactly to read if I'm not doing like a specific study or something. But I prayed about it, and then for some reason, all I could think about was read Ecclesiastes. So I was like, okay, I guess I'll roll with it. And I started reading it, and I'm about halfway through. I think there's a total of 12 chapters, and I am on 7. So I want to definitely come back and talk about the second half once I do more of a deep dive in that. But this is an interesting book, y'all, because first of all, if you don't have something like this, you don't really need it, but this is really cool. So this is a Bible handbook that I got like maybe 5 or 6 years ago from the Daily Grace Co. And I like it because it stops me from having to get on the internet. I really try my best not to Google everything, because I don't want to have like a lot of screen time when I'm doing Bible time. That's just kind of what I am with it, and it doesn't always work out like that. I like to listen to people's like Bible studies on YouTube and stuff, but I always try to do my portion first. So I have like a steady Bible, and then I have different resources that can kind of help me first. But I like this because it has like a little thing in here for each book. So this is the Ecclesiastes one, and it just gives you a brief overview of what it's about, what time it took place, who wrote it, a little bit of an intro, and then they just kind of outline what you can expect, and it moves on to the next one. Okay, so what I have seen in here, as well as in my Bible, and then also just from even looking on Google and stuff after, they don't really know exactly who wrote this book, but most people assume that it's Solomon, but they don't really know for sure. So with that, we're basically kind of reading it from a more of like an unknown perspective, but it's definitely it's good, y'all. But it's weird because it's almost like a negative book, I guess you could say. When you first read it, you're kind of like, ooh, it's kind of a downer, like what's going on? And I was kind of thinking, I'm like, God, why you got me reading this? But I kept going through it, and the first part that stuck out to me was when we get to the second chapter in Ecclesiastes, and my Bible titles this as The Vanity of Self-Indulgence. And this speaks so much to just the current season that I have been in, of just kind of questioning, like, okay, why am I doing what I'm doing? Like, what are these things that I'm chasing, right? And so I'm going to read a little bit about, or not about, what it says. So this is 2. It says, I said in my heart, come now, I will test you with pleasure. Enjoy yourself. But behold, this also was vanity. And vanity, the way that they describe it, just from a couple different resources that I've read, it's just basically the same thing of saying like emptiness, or you're striving after wind, which is basically, we know wind is like you're grasping basically at nothing. And so he goes on to say all of these things he's done. He's built, he's had houses, he's had slaves, he's had gardens and parks and fruit trees and herds and flocks, and he's done all of these different things. And then in verse 9 it says, so I became great and surpassed all who were before me in Jerusalem. Also my wisdom remained with me, and whatever my eyes desire I did not keep from them. I kept my heart from no pleasure, for my heart found pleasure in all my toil, and this was my reward for all my toil. Then I considered all that my hands had done, and the toil I had expended in doing it. And behold, all was vanity and striving after wind, and there was nothing to be gained under the sun. So to me, I'm like, okay, the author, he's basically saying, like, I didn't experience it all. I didn't have the riches. I've had the fame. I've accomplished all of the things that I set out to do on my list, and I'm still not feeling fulfilled, right? Because it's saying right there, like, it's all vanity and striving after wind, and there is nothing to be gained under the sun. So even after accomplishing all of those things, there's still this feeling of like, I don't feel content. And I resonated with it so much because I'm like, why do I feel like it's me? I feel like that I can see that, and it feels so much like my journey, because that's what it's like. Like you hit those milestones, you do the different things that are on your list. And this is even on just a personal thing. Like, you get married, you have the kids, you buy the house, you get the job, and then you still may have this feeling inside of you that is just kind of like, I feel like I'm not there yet, or I feel like, well, what's next? And it's just this like constant thing that keeps happening. Yasmin said, I know that's right, and definitely proud of you for sharing your walk and giving glory to God. We are called to be a light and a salt of the earth, and you are doing it, girl. Thank you so much, Yasmin. Yes, it is. It's definitely hard sometimes, because I'm always like, I don't know, like how people will receive certain things. But I feel like I'm at a point where, just as I even get older, I'm like, you know what? If it's not for you, there's a button you can click off, right? But for the people that, feel like it's for them, that's who it's for. The people that, he wants to hear these messages. So I appreciate that so much, more than you know. Okay. And then in chapter 3, there's a whole poem, and it talks about a time for everything. And I'm not going to read through everything because I don't want to take up all of you all's evening. But he basically says things like, there's a time for everything. There's a time to be born. There's a time to die. There's a time to mourn, and then there's a time to dance. There's a time to embrace, and then there's a time to refrain from embracing. There's a time to seek. There's a time to lose. There's a time to keep and a time to cast away. Love and hate. There's a time for war and peace. And so it basically is just saying that we're going to have good times, we're going to have bad times. There's a time for everything. But I feel like no matter what, God is always there through it all. And the reason I had said that this could be kind of viewed as like a negative book, just because through my research and different things, and as you read through it, it feels very doomsy, right? You're reading where he's just saying like, I did all these things and I still don't feel fulfilled, right? And, there's a time for this and that. And at the end of the day, things going to still keep happening, right? And it doesn't really seem very positive. But at the very end of the book, what it says is to fear the Lord and to make sure that you pay attention to what he commands you to do. And so no matter what, the things that we are doing of whatever it is, like if it is for selfish reasons, or if it is for validation, or what society expects of you to do, or what you had on your vision board, or whatever the case is, at the end of the day, the only thing that really matters and that's really going to fulfill you is him. And if you are trying to do it for all of these other reasons, for the accolades, for all of these material things, like we can't take any of those things with us, right? And so this part also within chapter 3, it's titled The God-Given Task, and this is in verse 9. This part was really good, and I think it just kind of brings home pretty much all of what I'm saying, and that is, what gain has the worker from his toil? I have seen the business that God has given to the children of men to be busy with. He has made everything beautiful in its time. Also, he has put eternity in man's heart, yet so that he cannot find out what God has done from the beginning to the end. I perceived that there is nothing better for them than to be joyful and to do good as long as they live. Also, that everyone should eat and drink and take pleasure in all his toil. This is God's gift to man. And then down on verse 17, it says, I said in my heart, God will judge the righteous and the wicked, for there is a time for every matter and for every work. This part for me, the part where it says that he put eternity in a man's heart, is basically like God literally implanted in us to have a longing for purpose, right? So it's normal to feel these things. It's normal to feel like, well, what's next? What should I be doing with my life? Like, it's normal for us as humans to want to have a purpose, for us to want to make an impact. It's literally ingrained within us. Like, he has placed that within us. And it matters to it. That's why we all have this kind of innate feeling of like searching for, what is my life for, right? I can't be the only one that thinks these things. It's like, you sit there, you go through the motions, you do things, you show up to work, you show up, you do the mom thing, you do the wife thing, you get on, you create your content. And then sometimes you just might be sitting there and you're kind of stewing in your thoughts a little bit. And it's like, what is all this for? Like, am I doing the right things I'm supposed to be doing? Am I showing up in the way that I'm supposed to? I know I can't be the only one. And so this was just a really good reminder to me that while, yes, we're going to be seeking these different things of the world, at the end of the day, like, God is always going to be there. And it's normal for us to question these things. Because I think that's what I had been feeling bad about. I'm like, why do I keep coming back to this same thing? Like, why do I keep feeling like I don't know what my purpose is? And I think that it's just a normal feeling to have. And the purpose is, I know I'm supposed to be helping women, but I'm like, but is that really the purpose? Like, just all of the different questioning and things that I'll have. So that was mainly what I wanted to share. I also just think too that when we focus so much on what the world thinks we should be doing, we just are never going to feel fulfilled anyway, because we're just simply chasing the wrong things. And I always find that when I am like back in my Bible, even if I'm not like in like the physical Bible, but even if I'm doing like, I have that Dwell app on my phone, or if I'm doing the Bible recap plan, or if I'm doing like the actual Bible app, like how they'll have those different things. What is it called? Why can't I think of the name of it? The thing that comes up daily. It's the daily, what is it called? I'm about to look it up because it's going to bother me now. The daily, what is it called? Doesn't it have a name, y'all? Okay, maybe I'm tripping. The verse, not the verse of the day. It's like, it's got, well, the verse of the day, but then there's a study, and then there's like a whole guided prayer thing. But anyway, I used to be all up on that. I had my little daily streaks and stuff, and then I would fall off. But basically, I'm saying anytime that I'm showing up and I'm getting in the word, or I'm listening to the word, it just gets me a lot more grounded and centered. And then it always makes me excited to want to share what I'm learning with others. And so I hope that this has blessed someone. I have even more stuff that's highlighted in here, but I know I'm coming up on my hour mark and I'm getting tired of talking. But yeah, I think that it's important for us to just be kind and just be in community with each other, and just to share the things that are on our heart. I love this platform so much, and I do not take it for granted. I'm so thankful for every single person that gets on these lives, that comments, that messages me, that supports, whether monetarily or just sharing things. Like, I genuinely am just so grateful, because yeah, I can't even put into words how grateful I am for it. And so to even be thinking about like walking away from this, it makes me sad, but it just kind of comes to those points. And I always try to tell myself, I'm like, it's the enemy, but it's just me being real with y'all. I think that we all have those times where we just question like, okay, what am I doing? Right. And so I just wanted to share that with you, because it's something that is just a constant battle for me, especially, like I said, over the last couple of years. I really have been like, okay, what's next, right? And if anyone has been feeling like that as well, I just want to encourage you to definitely, get into Ecclesiastes, but just get into your Bible, right? Find pray about it. Get into a devotional plan. Like there's a ton on the Bible app. If you just type in a topic or you click on a topic, and then you will find endless plans that will literally fit the exact scenario that you are feeling, to work through, and it'll give you scripture and different things to encourage you. So definitely get in your word, because I feel like that's really the only way. It's the only thing that matters. I just think we all we all just need more Jesus in our lives, okay? We really, really do. Okay, I'm gonna look at the comments and then we will wrap up. Okay, let's see. Okay, so Yasmin said, because our weakness he is strong, and calls us to humble ourselves and surrender it to him and seek him for guidance. Yes. 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 I feel like I really felt like that when I gave birth to my son. I never did really tell the birth story with him, but I had a natural unmedicated birth, y'all. And this was something that I had prayed about throughout the pregnancy. And I did a lot of preparation. I did everything that, like I read the books and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, he was my strength that got me through in those last moments, because when I tell y'all, it was hard. It was so hard. But yes, that's such a like real example of something that I did. But yes, even in like things with business and just seasons of uncertainty, he definitely is there. So I love that. And yes, he calls us to humble ourselves and surrender, most definitely. Miracles Land said, this is amazing. I definitely can relate and needed this. Thank you for sharing. God bless you. God bless you. And thank you for being on. I'm really glad that it's been helpful. And yeah, I'm really glad. Travel Memories with, is it Ovitus? Said, I'm glad you're here. I was looking for someone to explain Flowdesk better. I signed up for Flowdesk through your video link. Didn't know I was going to get so much more. Oh, yes. Okay. Well, first of all, thanks for signing up through my link. Like I shared, I don't know how long you've been on here before, but once you sign up for Flowdesk, you get a link as well. So make sure, like, if you have friends that have businesses, or if even on your own email list, like if you leave the thing on the bottom that says Made with Flowdesk, if people click on that and they sign up, you then can get a commission from Flowdesk for simply sharing. So definitely, I mean, it's something kind of cool that they do. You don't have to like apply for the program or anything, like literally just for being a Flowdesk person, like you can share Flowdesk. So I think it's a really cool thing that they have. And yeah, so check that out as well. But I'm so glad that it was helpful. I do have another like tutorial style video that will be coming for Flowdesk, just to share some of the even newer features that they have in my Grow Your List series. So stay tuned for that as well. Okay, yeah, thank you, Jamie. Verse of the day. Okay, Miracles Land said, keep walking in your faith. Your deposits into following is definitely received and appreciated. Thank you so much. I definitely will. And sometimes I feel bad too. It's like I have to remind myself, I'm like, you just had a whole baby, right? And so I'll like be beating myself up because I was like really in my word right before I had my son. And it's just been hard to like get back to anything, y'all. Like everything just feels like it's just been such a heavy lift, like in previous seasons where I felt like I was able to just kind of bounce back. And this has been an interesting time. So I appreciate the encouragement. Kay's Corner, hi, said, yes, definitely can relate to the feeling of uncertainty. It can seem like you're on a stride and then boom, that feeling of, wait, what am I doing this for? Will it work? Does it even matter? So thank you for your truth. Yes, girl, it's my truth. Totally my truth. So I'm really happy I'm not the only one, y'all. I really am. And we are all in this together. So I appreciate you for getting on with me this evening. I hope you have a wonderful weekend coming up. Like I was saying at the beginning of this, it's Friday Eve. We got one more day. We can make it. We can do it. Have a wonderful, safe weekend. And just love on yourself. Get in your word. And I'm hoping I'll be able to be back with another one of these soon. I'm not sure how often I'll be doing them, but this was really, really fun. So I hope it'll be sooner than later. But yeah, and then if you are looking for any of the links of anything I talked about, I'm going to update the description right after I get off of here. So like Flowdesk, I think my newsletter planning guide link, I don't even know if I put that down there. So I'll put that down there. And then anything else as far as like the Bible stuff I discussed, I'll try to put all of that down there too. Yes, I shared my Flowdesk link with my other travel advisor colleagues. Yes, exactly. That is wonderful. Definitely. Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate you all and have a wonderful night. Thanks for getting on. Bye.